Hey, welcome back everybody to the channel. So I'm Connor, this is our experience, and yes, you read it correctly, I'm back for 5 more reasons never to date a Ukrainian girl. I actually like Ukrainian girls overall, but of course there are some things that you need to be careful of if you come here, especially if it's your first time. You definitely need to be wary of a lot of scams that go on in cities. So I want to make sure that you're well prepared if you come here and that you don't have a bad experience. You get to enjoy the beautiful culture and architecture and really awesome vibe that you find here in Ukraine. And you can actually go to the other travel vlogs on my channel from here in Odessa or from Kiev or from Lviv and recently Kharkiv, and you'll get a real good sample of what it's like to come here. The girls are not the only reason to do so. But with that said, cue the intro.
Tsar Experience.
So, reason number 1 for the 5 more reasons never to date a Ukrainian. In fact, I guess that makes it reason number 6 is flakiness. Ukrainian girls are flaky as fuck. Let's be honest about it. Making an arrangement or a date here basically is kind of an aspiration rather than any sort of hard fixed appointment, and that's just the reality of it. So you're gonna have to get used to a lot of flaky dates if you come to this country. And as some of my friends have resorted to doing, they actually will schedule like maybe 3 dates in the space of an hour, knowing that basically 1, 2, or 3 of all of the girls will basically flake and not show up, or maybe not even right. So then and of course if they do show up, what they tell me is they basically tell the other 2 girls, yeah, sorry, something came up. So they become the flaky guy. So it's kind of a vicious circle here, but definitely that's something that every guy who comes here complains about. Maybe it's just something to do with Ukrainian culture in general, not particularly the girls here. Maybe also Ukrainian guys are just flaky, but definitely flakiness is a big issue. So be prepared for that kind of issue if you come to Ukraine. And actually, you should be able to still see the Opera House just behind me. Something worth checking out if your date doesn't show up and you're waiting here in Odessa, Ukraine. So, reason number 2, and reason number 7, depending on how you're counting, if you've seen the first video or not, is Ukrainians are extremely suspicious. And they will interrogate you non-stop. It's like being interrogated by the Stasi, Gestapo, CIA, take your pick on which secret service or Mossad or whatever you want to use that illusion for. That's basically what you will be asked so many questions, and it will feel like an interrogation, like how old are you, what's your marital status, why are you in Ukraine, do you want to have children. It's just like basically been interrogated from start to finish. And I'm not sure where the real origin of this kind of suspiciousness about your reasons, especially for being in Ukraine. Like, I spent a lot of time here through the year, and of course I'm based partly here in Odessa in Ukraine, so I guess for me it's not really a big issue. But most of my friends who say come, like a lot of you guys are going to come for say 1 or 2 weeks maybe on a holiday, one of the big questions is going to be, why are you in Ukraine? Why would you come to this country? And there are lots of great reasons. That's why I told you to check out the travel vlogs from cool Kiev and lovely Lviv and intellectual Kharkiv that I have on the channel. But yes, you are going to be interrogated, and one of my friends actually had a very good quote, quipped that it's because Ukrainian girls are always up to no good themselves, and that's why they suspect everybody else. So whether that's true or not, whether you believe that is true or not, write me in the comment section below if you're Ukrainian, and let me know about that. And that is number 2 or number 7. Let's get into number 8. So reason number 3 in this video, or 8 if you're counting all the way from my first video and including it, is the fact that Ukrainians have a reputation in general for being cunning, or хитрый, if you want to say it in Russian. That's amongst other countries or nationalities within the former Soviet Union. This is what Ukrainians know for, and particular Ukrainian girls are known for being хитрый. So cunning, they are calculating. This is kind of what I referred to in the last reason about them being suspicious, and what my British friend here, Andy, referred to as them being up to no good all the time. That's why they're so suspicious. But that is something that Ukrainians in general are known for being amongst, as I said, the other nationalities. in the region. So that is another reason to be very careful. They're always calculating something or conniving and up to something. So that's why you should never rest easy. That would be my advice, especially if you don't know the person very well here, the Ukrainian girl very well. So that's number 8, which is kind of an extension or corollary of reason number 7. So let's get into reason number 9. So reason number 9, inflexibility. Like, the dating culture here is quite antiquated by, say, Western standards, and that's fine. I appreciate that I'm here in Ukraine in another culture, in a different country, so I need to adapt to a certain extent with the dating norms or the culture norms, of course, while I'm a guest here in Ukraine. That said, though, Ukrainian girls can be pretty inflexible with any sort of cultural differences, and that is a bit strange considering they decided to go out on a date or to actually date seriously a foreigner. So why do that if you want 100% Ukrainian culture or Ukrainian norms? There are millions of great Ukrainian guys here, so you can also date them as well. You don't need to date a foreigner. I always feel that whilst I make a huge effort, of course, to adapt to the local customs wherever I am, I'm actually not from here, and that's something that should make me a little bit more unique, and I'm willing to meet people a lot of the way, but becoming 100% Ukrainian doesn't really make sense for me. So if someone's not willing to move, say 10-20%, that's probably not a good sign, and that is a major issue, that a lot of girls here want you to be like a Ukrainian guy 100%, and that is a little bit of an odd thing for me to see and to desire. Well, Ukrainian girls, write me below why you want that. So that's another complaint, is the inflexibility, especially with the dating culture and the dating norms, because of course guys pay the bills here, they organize the date, they basically do everything for the girl, who's more or less like a princess, and that's very different to with dating culture in Western Europe or North America today. So that's something to be very aware of, that they're not going to be very flexible, and maybe look for someone who's maybe lived abroad or is more open to being flexible. So we're nearing the end of the reasons. This is reason number 5 or reason number 10, depending on how you're counting, if you've seen my first video or not. And we're back to one that I mentioned in the first video, and that is scams. And I'm not talking about the big scams, where I talk about like people being ripped off from restaurants for hundreds of euros and stuff like that. It can even be really, really small. They're that determined to get something out of you. And I'm going to go into this story that happened here on this trip to Odessa to a friend of mine, in probably the podcast in a later episode, probably coming at the end of the summer. We really go into detail on this, but in this video I'll just say that it involved the McDonald's. Some girl was willing to scam him for a McDonald's meal. Having looked her up online, she did not seem that poor, so it was like anything that's going to happen to Ukrainian girls. They just think they, foreign guys are idiots to be exploited, and basically, yeah, supposed to be a Bumble date. She invited him over, which seemed very strange to invite someone over having not met them, but hey, let's order takein or take out, call it in, whatever. And then when it came, she seemed more interested in trying to get her hands on the food and slammed the door shut, but didn't work. She was foiled. But there's a lot of interesting twists to that story, and I'll go into it in a longer episode. There are 5 reasons. I hope you're going to be very wary if you come here. I haven't watched both of these videos, but there are great reasons to be here, as I said. Also, Ukrainian girls as well. They're not all that bad, all of them. So if you are interested in coming here and dating girls, in fact, you should go and check out my free course in the description below, and there it's completely free. You just sign up by email, and you have to confirm your email address that you're really a person, and then you get the 3 tips or the 3 videos course that I'm going to give you, the training about how to have your first successful date with a Ukrainian girl. Go down there, check that out. It's all free. And if you're new to the channel, I'm Connor. Subscribe for the vibe, as my friend Dr. Popkin says in his channel. Make sure you do that. So squeeze that red subscribe button, helps the channel out, and give this video a big thumbs up if you have enjoyed it so far. If you've hated it, like 2,500 of you so far have done on the previous one, then go ahead, give it a dislike. So I'm just giving you a little bit of a 360 around the Richelieu statue here. So guys, I've given you 5 more reasons why you should never date Ukrainian girls, and to be honest, why would you want to when you've got so many other things to do here in Ukraine? There's so much culture, art. For example, this is the Odessa Opera House. You should be able to see it's just behind me there, and it's amazing. It has the same architect as that in Vienna. Also,
SAR Experience.